Hello, Ingrid here from No More Noise Toronto to help you understand what it means to speak to committee or to make a deputation, as they're also known. So, I'm going to share my screen here and let's get rolling. So, making deputations is simply speaking to the committee. And when you are thinking about that, basically you need to see when the committee meets, and then 1 week before that committee meets, the agenda will be released. And you can use this link to go to the council and committee meetings webpage and then click that big blue button that you see. I like to go to the schedule view, which is basically a calendar. So you click on that meeting that you want to possibly speak at to access the agenda items. And then you click on the specific agenda item to request to speak. So once you get that, and you'll see that button at the top, once you get there, click the request to speak button, and you'll have an email that is displayed that gives information that you need to register to speak. It's basically your name, an organization. You're welcome to put No More Noise Toronto if you like, or your own community organization or residents association if you like. And then you'll also need to put your mailing address. I put my postal code. That's all I do. And then also a phone number. From that, you will get a confirmation from the city, and that will give you information on how you can speak in person or also online. And you can literally choose how you do that on the day. So you don't need to make any arrangements for that in advance. Yeah. So when you speak to the committee, as I said, you can speak online or in person, and you are always called to speak in order of registration. So you don't actually know where you are in that lineup until the morning of, because the list of speakers will show on the agenda page of the meeting, and it's posted at 8:30 in the morning on the day of the meeting. So you can register up until the day of the meeting. So plan to speak for 3 minutes. You may get 5. But I've had it where if you plan for 5 and then it cuts down to 3, you're both mentally, you're scrambling for your words, and also it just raises the anxiety level. So I would say plan for 3 minutes, and if you get 5, just slow down, add a little bit of words if you like. And they call people in threes. So from the list of speakers, you will then see who is in front of you. And then when they call people, you go, oh yeah, okay. And you know that if you're speaking for 3 minutes each, that if there's 3 speakers ahead of you, you are probably going to be up in about 10 minutes. But always be ready, be watching on the city's YouTube channel that you see here in this link, because sometimes a speaker doesn't show. Sometimes 2 speakers don't show, and all of a sudden you're up. So be watching and engaged and ready. And then you speak. And if you're in person, I'll go into that. You may be asked questions. And if you are, that is actually a good thing. That means you've caught their interest. But sometimes in the effort of time, they will never ask a question of a speaker. So don't take it personally if you don't get questions. Just remember that everything you say is in the public domain. So if you're speaking in person, it's always at City Hall, 100 Queen Street West, and arrive early. Generally, the meeting starts at 9:30. But I'm there around 9. I get through security, I settle in, there's water in the room, bathrooms are close by. So I like to go early. You can bring food and you can eat in the committee room. That's no problem. But they do close the room for lunch, and there is a cafe in the city hall. So the actual timing of when you come up to speak is dependent on where the item is on the agenda, how many items are cleared off in advance, and see the next slide what I mean by that, and how many speakers are registered for this and other agenda items. So they often call people in threes again. So this is how you can get ready, you can get prepared. But if you're in the room physically, the Wi-Fi signal can be weak. So bring any presentations loaded onto your computer. I've tried to do things online, and sometimes my graphics didn't show, and so that's frustrating. So it's also, you can just simply bring a printout. 3 minutes is about 1 page of text. So that's kind of a parameter. You can bring a printout and simply read it out, but I would not bring it just as 1 page of text. Make it nice and big, give yourself extra spacing, and print it out on 2 pages. If you're speaking virtually, this has been an introduction since the pandemic, and it's great for convenience, and it's certainly made deputations easier. If you're trying to squeeze this in on a work day, Then you can have the YouTube up on one monitor or somewhere else, and you can continue working, and then you can just be ready to speak when the time is right. In the confirmation email, you will get instructions, and it's hosted through WebEx, which is the city's way of doing all of these meetings. And it can be a little complicated, so just log in early, test it out. Don't think that you can just log in and within 2 minutes be ready. So I always log in early. And then when you're called upon to speak, they will unmute you and you can turn on your camera and you can share your screen if you need to. Turning on your camera and having a presentation, if you're speaking virtually, makes a big difference in terms of engagement in the room. If you're just a black box with your name, sometimes counselors will just pick up their phones and they'll look at other things and that kind of thing. So turn your camera on. Also, don't try to show or play audio from your phone. Like I've had people have their phone and then they've kind of held it up to the speaker where they think the speaker is on their computer. It doesn't work. So I would not try it unless you've actually done that before and you've known that it works. Speak very clearly. Sometimes the audio in the room isn't very clear. So if you speaking clearly really helps, and just remember, it's in the public domain and you will be on the city's YouTube channel. So on the day of the meeting at 8:30 a.m., the list of speakers is released in the agenda. And then at 9:30 or 10, the meeting starts. Sometimes counselors kind of trickle in, and so it can start a little bit late because they need quorum. Then they'll run through the agenda, and let's just say sometimes these meetings have 14, 16 items on them. And what they'll do is they'll go through the agenda, and any item that has a speaker has to be held, as they say, because they have to hear you. And any items that can be quickly cleared off are done. So an 18 agenda item can suddenly go, or a meeting can suddenly go to 10 items or 5 items. And then I've also had it where if there's a lot of speakers on another item, they will clear through the items that only have 2 or 3 speakers. So you need to be ready and just have YouTube on and be ready to be ready to speak. Around 12:30 or 1 o'clock is a lunch break generally. So this can change depending on, so know that there's a lunch break, and they have to hear all deputations. And if there's a lot of deputations and if it's a busy day, it can be a long day. So when you craft your message, when you're thinking about your deputation, be personal, be authentic, be to the point. If noise is really hard for you to speak about because it's impacted your health, your mental and physical health, they actually need to see that. And while it takes a lot of courage to share that story, it is the most impactful way to influence change. So I know it's hard. I still get a little nervous when it all happens, but it is the best way to do that. So introduce yourself. Hello, my name's Ingrid. I'm from No More Noise Toronto. You can say the ward that you live in or not. And then explain what you want, why it matters, and how it supports the city's objectives. So, depending on the agenda item, we want the city to reduce the noise levels in Toronto. It matters because it impacts my physical and mental health, and my kids aren't learning well in school because their school is on a loud street, or my mother who's living in a senior's residence is on an arterial and it's loud and she can't sleep well at night. So, and then present a solution or a recommendation to an existing problem. What could possibly, give them some ideas. And if you're part of No More Noise Toronto and we have a campaign going, we will give you recommendations or solutions. We will prep you. We'll give you speaking points. And somewhere on this page will be another place where you can look for that. Know your audience and adapt your message accordingly. Are you speaking to housing? Because noise can be part of housing. Noise can be part of the Economic and Community Development Committee. It can be part of the Night Economy Manifesto. It can be part of accessibility. So know your audience. Often look at the background information is a really great way to start. And then mention No More Noise Toronto if you can, if you're comfortable doing so, because it raises awareness of the group. So thank you for thinking about making a deputation. Please, if you have any questions, please email me at info@nomorenoisetoronto.com and I will do my best to support you. And so with that, I just want to say thank you very much for your support of No More Noise Toronto. We are a grassroots organization. And we have about 1,300 people on our mailing list right now, which is June 2024. We're looking for more, and we're looking to create a better Toronto by reducing noise. Thank you.